So the first question I've had is, can I give too much love? Can I spoil my child? Can I ruin my child by giving them too much love? No, no. There's not enough love and compassion and kindness in the world. How would we all be if we were receiving more compassion and calm and love from everybody around us? There should be more love, support, compassion and understanding. There's definitely not too much love. But there is not enough boundaries or too tight a boundaries. As parents, we seem to either swing from super rigid, we have to teach our children to fit in, to, oh, our child needs to be able to express and be themselves. And yeah, both of these things are valid, but we don't need to be super rigid and we don't need to be so loose on the boundaries as well. There's a middle ground. And that's where I advocate completely and wholly. We want to be in the middle space. We want to be in the middle ground. Because when we're too tight and too rigid, we lose a relationship with our child. They don't respect us. They pull away. We really can't be effective in teaching them how to be good people. Well, they are innately good people, but guiding them and mentoring them to become who they are in a healthy way. But if we're too compensating and too much enabling them to not be healthy and well, because for the sake of allowing them to be themselves, then we're not really doing them any justice either, because we're feeding negative behaviors or thoughts or ways of being in the world. Now, when a child is having challenges, we do want to support them, but we want to also let them know that we're moving forward out of this at their pace, that we're not going to stay here doing these things forever, because if it's a challenging behavior, then it's not healthy. So I'm here to support you to move through this, but I completely accept and love you. So you're okay, you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you are my special person. These behaviors that are happening, that are coming out of you, are something we're going to work on together, so it's healthier for the family or healthier for them, whatever words work for them. Now, for my children, I need to use different word sets because they have different ways of thinking. So my youngest is very relational based, and she's like, she really likes the, we're in this together. We're going to find ways. How about, I can see that this is going on for you. What do you think about if we move in this way? Whereas my oldest is not so much a we person. She's much more of a more linear, more black and white, more what's going to work for me and how is this system going to work. And I have to be very blunt and less we and heartfelt. I have to be more like, really, really see your point, honey. I can see what you want. I can see why you're doing that. I can see what you're feeling, and I can see you really want this end result, and I can't give it to you. And that's really disappointing. So what we can do is we can negotiate a plan around us both getting what we want and moving in a direction that we are able to work together on. And here's the strategic plan for that. So as you can see, they're very different kids. One is a very logical head sort of thinking person, and the other is a very heartfelt, emotional. And I have to talk to them very differently, but the process is the same. I'm saying, I see you, and here's where we need to go, and let's work on ways together to get there. So to wrap that up, there's no too much love, but either too strict boundaries or too loose boundaries and not enough guidance. We have to guide our kids. Our kids are pretty lost in the world without us as parents. Like, the world is a really scary place for a typical kid, and they need guidance to know where to go. But for a kid who's missing cues, not understanding certain things, or has delays or differences that makes them stand out, then of course they need us to guide them and mentor them. And we really need to, as parents, understand them as an individual really well to be able to guide them well. So it's really, there's quite a lot of steps involved, but in one of our courses we really do unpack those steps on how to understand our children really well and how to really understand their individual profile, what makes them tick, How do we move them from A to B and eventually to Z to get them along that path that we really are aiming for them to move along for health and wellness?